Hello everyone, welcome to my show. I'm the Empath, and today we have Bible Babble. So, we're going to pick up where we left off last time, which was we just finished Genesis chapter 8, and so we'll start into Genesis chapter 9. God's covenant with Noah. God blessed Noah and his sons and said, "Have many children, so that your descendants will live all over the earth. All the animals, birds, and fish will live in fear of you. They're all placed under your power. Now you can eat them as well as green plants. I give them all to you for food. The one thing you must not eat is meat with blood still in it. I forbid this because the life is in the blood. If anyone takes human life, he will be punished. I will punish with death any animal that takes a human life. Man was made like God, so whoever murders a man will himself be killed by his fellow man. You must have many children, so that your descendants will live all over the earth." God said to Noah and his sons, "I am now making my covenant with you and with your descendants, and with all living beings, all birds and all animals, everything that came out of the boat with you. With these words I make my covenant with you. I promise that never again will all living beings be destroyed by a flood. Never again will a flood destroy the earth. As a sign of this everlasting covenant which I am making with you and with all living beings, I am putting my bow in the clouds. It will be the sign of my covenant with the world. Whenever I cover the sky with clouds and the rainbow appears, I will remember my promise to you and to all the animals that a flood will never again destroy all living beings. When the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between me and all living beings on earth. That is the sign of the promise which I am making to all living beings." And so that explains where rainbows come from. Um, and I think when it's saying that anyone who kills a man will be killed, I don't think that so much applies to animals. I think that's mainly talking to oh no, it does say punish with death any animal that takes a human life. That seems I don't quite know how that works. Maybe it just means that they're bound to die. I'm not quite certain how that's supposed to work in accordance with everything else. I just kind of take it as is, and anything I don't really understand, I just chalk up to things that I and us as human beings don't know yet. That's how I tend to take it. Not so much blind faith, but just that I don't know everything. No one does, so don't presume that something is wrong just because you can't explain it. That's how I go about it. Anyway, Noah and his sons. The sons of Noah went out of the boat. The sons of Noah who went out of the boat were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And by the way, sometimes it does this where it says the same sort of thing over and over again. So reading this, I might sound like some old person with bad memory. Anyway, Ham was the father of Canaan. These three sons of Noah were the ancestors of all the people on earth. Noah, who was a farmer, was the first man to plant a vineyard. After he drank some of the wine, he became drunk, took off his clothes, and lay naked in his tent. When Ham, the father of Canaan, saw that his father was naked, he went out and told his two brothers. Then Shem and Japheth took a robe and held it behind them on their shoulders. They walked backward into the tent and covered their father, keeping their faces turned away so as not to see him naked. When Noah sobered up and learned what his youngest son had done to him, he said, "A curse on Canaan! He will be a slave to his brothers. Give praise to the Lord, the God of Shem. Canaan will be a slave of Shem. May God cause Japheth to increase. May his descendants live with the people of Shem. Canaan will be the slave of Japheth." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years and died at the age of 950. So I guess with that part, just you're not supposed to see their nakedness, or Noah was embarrassed or something like that, and so he cursed his son. That, yeah, some parts of the Bible do seem strange to me. Again, that was like a human act right there. And he wouldn't have cursed him for being naked if Adam had eaten the apple in the first place, or Eve. But yeah, anyway. Chapter 10: the descendants of Noah's sons. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These three had sons after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras, were the ancestors of the people who bear their names. So they would be like the Javans, the Tubals, the Meshechs, stuff like that. The descendants of Gomer were the people of Ashkenaz, Ripath, and Togarmah. The descendants of Javan were the people of Elijah, Spain, Cyprus, and Rhodes. They were the ancestors of the people who live along the coast and on the islands. These are the descendants of Japheth, living in their different tribes and countries, each group speaking its own language. The sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Libya, and Canaan, were the ancestors of the peoples who bear their names. The descendants of Cush were the people of Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raamah, and Sabteka. The descendants of Raamah were the people of Sheba and Dedan. Cush had a son named Nimrod. That's kind of funny. Who became the world's first great conqueror. By the Lord's help, he was a great hunter, and that is why people say, "May the Lord make you as great a hunter as Nimrod." Today we probably wouldn't say that because Nimrod has become a term for someone who's stupid. Anyway, it's strange how things like that change. I'm kind of rambling at the moment. Anyway, at first his kingdom included Babylon, Erech, and Akkad, all three of them in Babylonia. From that land he went to Assyria and built the cities of Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Kala, and Resen, which is between Nineveh and the great city of Kala. The descendants of Egypt were the people of Lydia, Anam, Lahab, Naptu, and Pathros, Kasla, and of Crete, from whom the Philistines are descended. A lot of names. Canaan's sons, Sidon, the oldest, and Heth, were the ancestors of the peoples who bear their names. Canaan was also the ancestor of the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, and the Hivites, the Arkites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. The different tribes of the Canaanites spread out until the Canaanite borders reached from Sidon southward to Gerar near Gaza, and eastward to Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim near Elisha. These are the descendants of Ham, living in their different tribes and countries, each group speaking its own language. Shem, the older brother of Japheth, was the ancestor of all the Hebrews. Shem's sons, Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram, were the ancestors of the peoples who bear their names. The descendants of Aram were the people of Uz, Hul, Gether, and Meshech. Arpachshad was the father of Shelah, who was the father of Eber. Eber had two sons. One was named Peleg, because during his time the people of the world were divided, and the other was named Joktan. The descendants of Joktan were the people of Almodad, Shelep, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All of them were descended from Joktan. The land in which they lived extended from Mesha to Sephar, in the eastern hill country. These are the descendants of Shem, living in their different tribes and countries, each group speaking its own language. All these peoples are the descendants of Noah, nation by nation, according to their different lines of descent. After the flood, all the nations of the earth were descended from the sons of Noah. Chapter 10 is a lot of names, and these people are these descendants, and there's various peoples and tribes named after them, and they live in this place. It's a mouthful, is what it is. So if you're having a little bit of difficulty understanding and following and being like, what's the point of all this? It's just, again, it's a lot of background information. It's a lot of information in general. It's a mouthful. I'm actually getting parched. I'm gonna get a drink of water here soon. Yeah, some of the chapters of the Bible are like that. Anyway, chapter 11, the Tower of Babylon. At first, the people of the whole world had only one language and used the same words. As they wandered about in the east, they came to a plain in Babylon and settled there. They said to one another, "Come on, let's make bricks and bake them hard." So they had bricks to build with and tar to hold them together. They said, "Now let's build a city with a tower that reaches the sky, so that we can make a name for ourselves and not be scattered all over the earth." Then the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which those men had built. And he said, "Now then, these are all one people, and they speak one language. This is just the beginning of what they are going to do. Soon they will be able to do anything they want. Let us go down and mix up their language so that they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. The city was called Babylon, because there all the Lord mixed up the language of all the people, and from there he scattered them all over the earth. Which is why incoherent speech is known as babbling. And that's not such a bad thing what he did to the people, because like he said, people are born with evil in their hearts. That's not to say everyone is just full out 100% evil or something like that. It's just everyone has evil in their hearts. You have the potential to go and just randomly murder a bunch of people. I have that same potential. It's a scary thing, but and it's not like it's that likely from every person, but it's a real possibility. So everyone has that evil in them, and God was seeing here that if they were allowed to do this, then they would essentially they would get to a point where they would try to challenge God, and they would try to rule and oppress the entire world. So God saw the evil that was bound to happen from this, and he put a stop to it. That's why there's multiple languages. Now, there's nothing to say that we couldn't all try to, if there's nothing to say that we couldn't eventually reach a point where we could all, speak the same language, live in the same place, that sort of thing. But at that time, at least, that was not possible because of all the evil in their hearts. Anyway, continuing on. The descendants of Shem. These are the descendants of Shem. 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100 years old, he had a son, Arpachshad. After that, he lived another 500 years and had other children. When Arpachshad was 35 years old, he had a son, Shelah. After that, he lived another 403 years and had other children. When Shelah was 30 years old, he had a son, Eber. After that, he lived another 403 years and had other children. By the way, just quick thing, God said that they wouldn't live past 120 years, and here they are living past 120 years. I'm not exactly certain about that. If anyone wants to come out and say, like, in the comments or something like that, what is up with that, what their understanding of the situation with that is, feel free. I honestly don't really know, unless he made everyone before the flood only be able to live up to 120 years. Or if maybe he's just gradually lowering how old people can be. But let's just continue. I'll start with Eber. When Eber was 34 years old, he had a son, Peleg. After that, he lived another 430 years and had other children. When Peleg was 30 years old, he had a son, Reu. After that, he lived another 209 years and had other children. When Reu was 32 years old, he had a son, Serug. After that, he lived another 207 years and had other children. When Serug was 30 years old, he had a son, Nahor. After that, he lived another 200 years and had other children. When Nahor was 29 years old, he had a son, Terah. After that, he lived another 119 years and had other children. After Terah was 70 years old, he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. The descendants of Terah. These are the descendants of Terah, who was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran was the father of Lot, and Haran died in his hometown of Ur in Babylonia, while his father was still living. Abram married Sarai, and Nahor married Milcah, the daughter of Haran, who was also the father of Iscah. Sarai was not able to have children. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, who was the son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, Abram's wife, and with them he left the city of Ur in Babylonia to go to the land of Canaan. They went as far as Haran and settled there. Terah died there at the age of 205. A lot of mouthful stuff, and I'm really getting parched. I'm really gonna need a drink of water soon, but we'll do one more chapter. And that right there was just talking about more descendants, more people and relations to other people. So, yeah. Chapter 12. God's call to Abraham. The Lord said to Abraham, "Leave your country, your relatives, and your father's home, and go to a land that I am going to show you. I will give you many descendants, and they will become a great nation. I will bless you and make your name famous, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, but I will curse those who curse you, and through you I will bless all the nations." When Abraham was 75 years old, he started out from Haran, as the Lord had told him to do, and Lot went with him. Abraham took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all the wealth and all the slaves they had acquired in Haran, and they started out for the land of Canaan. When they arrived in Canaan, Abraham traveled through the land until he came to the sacred tree of Moreh, the holy place of Shechem. At that time the Canaanites were still living in the land. The Lord appeared to Abraham and said to him, "This is the country that I am going to give to your descendants." Then Abraham built an altar there to the Lord, who had appeared to him. After that he moved on south to the hill country east of the city of Bethel, and set up his camp between Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There also he built an altar and worshipped the Lord. Then he moved on from place to place, going toward the southern part of Canaan. Abram in Egypt. But there was a famine in Canaan, and it was so bad that Abram went farther south to Egypt to live there for a while. When he was about to cross the border into Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, "You are a beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they will assume that you are my wife, and so they will kill me and let you live. Tell them that you are my sister. Then because of you, they will let me live and treat me well." When he crossed the border into Egypt, the Egyptians did see that his wife was beautiful. Some of the court officials saw her and told the king how beautiful she was, so she was taken to his palace. Because of her, the king treated Abram well and gave him flocks of sheep and goats, cattle, donkeys, and slaves, and camels. But because the king had taken Sarai, the Lord sent terrible diseases on him and the people of his palace. Then the king sent for Abram and asked him, "What have you done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say that she was your sister and let me take her as my wife? Here is your wife. Take her and get out." The king gave orders to his men, so they took Abram and put him out of the country, together with his wife and everything he owned. And in chapter 12, that's a bit of cleverness on Abraham's part, because if they believed that she was his wife, then yeah, they would have killed Abraham and taken her as their wife. And I guess that kind of would have been okay, but really it wouldn't have been. But because you have to think about this from that sort of perspective. If the dude's married, well, you kill if the husband's dead, then the wife's available. Whereas if that dude is her brother, if you kill her brother, then that's not okay. That's her blood relative. Neither thing is really okay, but just Yeah, cleverness on his part to anticipate the sinfulness and evil of the people of Egypt in that place. And yeah, that's chapter 12. And that's where we're gonna stop. So it's looking like we're getting through about 4 chapters a session. So at this rate, next time we'll probably get through chapter 16. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Like and favorite if you enjoyed, and subscribe to become a VIP today. And I will see you all next time. Have a great day.